G'day guys, welcome to a quick preview for this Randwick meeting. It's obviously heavily rate affected now, which is going to cause a few disasters, and hard to have a lot of confidence with a lot of runners not really well set up or being exposed to a track like this for a while, which is weird this time of year. Rail doesn't really matter where it is. It's in the 6 metre, 4 metre to the from the mile back, 6 metres from the mile to the winning post. It's just going to be a fitness test, I'd say. It should be okay, the track. I don't think it's going to be completely bottomless, but still difficult to run on. Usually it's normally a good advantage to be up there on speed and bowling rather than back and chasing. So looking for on-speed runners that get through the ground and have a good fitness base, ideally. There are a few races, and there's one horse in particular that probably will get back, but I'm probably making an exception just because it's got so much on them setup wise. So go through the races quickly and hopefully gain a little bit more insight than normal. So first race of the day, 3-year-olds benchmark 74. Royal Celebration was obviously really good first up over the 1300 metres, nosed out by Gem Song, who did find a bit of trouble with Royal Celebration, did sit wide throughout there. 14 days since, now rises to the 1400. I wish it had one more run. He was really big in condition there because this is probably going to be more like a 1500 mile test, which is not great for this horse, but it's just so talented that you'd expect it to run well regardless. Whether it gets through the heavy or not, I'm not sure. It's not a horse I could take $3 about, but I could see it easily winning the race. It's a bit of a nightmare. Silent Explorer. He's a horse that's seen a heavy track before. It's had the benefit of one extra run. It's an adaptable sort of horse. So it's had an 11 and a 13, now jumps to 14, which it's beaten narrowly by Toulouse before. I could see it running positively, certainly here. It's a sort of a type that could go forward or go back, so it's a bit of a nightmare. Another horse that I can't have confidence in, but it gets through the going. Yulong January is a very talented horse. It's sat on speed and put away a couple of fields at Swan Hill, which is strange form coming into a race like this, but obviously has good upside and expecting it to run well. Gate 1's certainly not ideal. Hasn't seen anything like this on the track, wet-wise. Impossible to really line it up, but it does have good talent. Nico Lad hasn't seen a really wet track. Was a winner in maiden grade last start in the slow 5, soft 5. Expecting it to probably struggle a little bit more than the others here out to 1400 on a heavy surface. Just looks a little bit testing for him. Tough Larry was a really strong winner over 1150. Didn't really look like that was his go. He sort of looked like he wants a bit further, and he battled on really well. He's got pace, which is setting up nicely here to find a position, even though it is a small field, and you expect him to run extremely well here. I think he's probably, if you had to have a pick, he's the one who's going to be up on speed and battling on strongly. He and Royal Celebration are probably the two. Mr. Boom Jangles got away with a maiden last start, beating Ulasaba. This is a big step up, has to rise in grade, and has handled the heavy, but in maiden grade and was beaten there at 50 to 1, 60 to 1. So, answer to Pineapple, I think Royal Celebration and Tough Larry are the two hardest to beat. Yulong January has all sorts of talent and handles the wet, probably wins. So it's a nightmare race that I'm not interested at all in playing. A few nice horses though going forward. Race 2 is the Highway. Absolutely impossible, I found this. Really don't have an opinion. Horses at first up, second up, coming back in distance, up in distance. 7-week breaks, staying the same distance. Horses coming from everywhere. Normally I like these races, but this just did my head in. Really found it quite difficult to even bother trying to have not a guess, but I guess to eliminate any runners. It was quite difficult. There's nothing that stands out value-wise. Really, everything's around its right price. I think they're all sort of attributing $7, $8 the field. Ivopex is probably a bit short, having the 7-week break leading into this. Other than that, if I had to have a pick, it's probably Blinking Fast, who comes from a little bit different area and looks well set up to run well over the mile and has Sits in on pace last start and battle on to. Race 3, 2,000 metre handicap. The horses we're kind of looking for are both owned by the same runner here in Excelsior and Cosmologist. I think they roll forward. Is Don is good, probably rolls forward from that outside gate and runs okay. I've settled on two main hopes here with very little confidence again in Excelsior, who's just flying. His last 3 runs are all very good. The problem is the 2,000 metres, he sort of went mile, good effort, up to 1,800, good effort, but did set a pretty softish tempo there, even though beaten by some nice horses. One of them's in here today, Tamarack. Now went back to a mile, strong win there. Now comes back up to 2,000 metres. If he runs the 2,000 out, I think he'll probably win. Tamarack's obviously got that similar form line. I think Keep Up's the other one who is interesting. Drops back in distance with blinkers applied, and even though it hasn't got a great winning record overall, I think it's sort of building towards a win here, even though it is up in grade. So it's a race I couldn't find Rakik on the heavy surface. Cosmologist runs okay up on the speed. Tamarack's not a horse that's really shown anything too exciting on really soft ground. Was only beaten 2.5 lengths in that race last 2 starts back on the heavy at Rose Hill when it beat Excelsior home. So yeah, it's hard to really have any confidence here. You can tell by the tone of my voice I'm pretty much guessing in these races. There's nothing clear cut. It's pretty ugly. But Excelsior's the one that sort of looks to me like it's going to handle this sort of ground the most. It's just a matter of whether it runs out the 2,000. Answers the Pineapple, race 4. This is the race where I think there's an exception to the rule, and that's that Insensata looks extremely well set up here. Very bad to sneeze. Pardon me. Just been luckless all preparation. Its last 5 runs read 7, 6, 6, 4, 8. But if you look into those closely, beaten half length first up by Uberman, which was flying at the time, came out and beaten 2.5 by Eusebio after being last. The Egyptian Symbol race was run at joke speed back last. The next Best of Days race was run really slow back last, back close to the last. Got back last behind Princess Posh and Savatiano in the Tibby and rocketed late there, even though it was pace assisted. Last start, an absolutely walking tempo and ripped home in Group 2 company, fillies and mares. Drops back to what is just an open handicap here, only carries the 53, and is 2 starts on a heavy for a win and a placing. That was over 1,400 metres behind Just Dreaming, who runs here today, but he's first up, and well back in a Kembla Class 1, 1,300 metres, but dominant there. So I think this horse gets its chance to break back into the winner's circle. 1,400 metres is okay. I think the heavy's okay. The reason why is you've got Torgerson's first up for 231 days. Usually takes racing to get fit. Just Dreaming does look to probably lead and gets through the ground. I think it's the clear danger. Tongue tie goes on Just Dreaming. 105 days is probably just enough to say it's okay first up. I prefer it had a run too. And that's why I'm sort of leaning the other way. Magic Alibi, I think 1,400 metres sees this horse out and doesn't really have a super wet track record to overcome what I think is a distance query. Matt the Super Tycoon, second up, 7 weeks between runs, has a good wet record, but was beaten 9 lengths. Lara Main Teach Quebec there. First up, can improve, is the knockout. Insensata, as we've talked about, out defined 182 days between runs, 600 metres back in trip, which I don't mind, but the heavy surface is an absolute unknown with this horse. Was a winner. No, place getter, it's what can win on. One on a soft 6 Caloundra, which they put up as a 4 1 run, so it gets through the ground, you'd say. Softish ground, it's just a matter of whether it gets real heavy, and it's got to do this first up travelling, big task, etymology, also first up 126 days between runs. It's a pretty one-pace type, which may be suited to this ground, I'm not sure. It's had 3 starts on soft going for a placing, never seen a heavy track as well, so query, you're getting $6 about Insensata to find out whether it's going to run on from back in the field against a slowish tempo here, and that's probably it. But it's probably capable of still sprinting okay on a soft or a heavy ground. It's Insensata. It's just too well set up not to like. Race 5. Wow. Settle on a couple of chances, leading chances here again in Drogheda and Zorkan. Drogheda I thought was good, especially really late first up. Can race handier from the better gate. Zorkan draws awkwardly, and that's probably its main problem here, but you could see it trying to roll forward into an on-pace position and runs extremely well. Dominant last start 28 days ago under similar conditions, drops back 200 metres, which I don't have a problem with. I think he'll be strong and hard to beat. The others really difficult to really find one with any confidence. Abdon was probably the other one I could see improving. Just loses the rider from last start, but does look to have the right form to improve here. Then what are we talking? There's just really not a lot to like about many of the others. Have all got massive queries against them. So Drogheda and Zorkan, the two that look the better hopes. I'm just a shame that the Fierce Impact comes out. Would have made the price a lot more attractive, probably for both of them. Race 6, Rome and Consul. Sandbar's the one that ticks the boxes here. 14 days between runs, backing distance ideal. Every possible chance in the Group 1 last start, but that's certainly good form for this. No knocks at all apart from the inside draw, which Corey Brown has the job to overcome. Now Merton's sort of 5 weeks between runs that Blinkers go on. It's just okay first up, really needs to improve. Interesting to see them running here. I thought Jonker was very good last start. In similar conditions, 28 days between runs. Seems okay, staying at that same distance. Giving him time to get over that run. I think he's probably ready to go now and runs well. Legend of Condor got out of its ground last start. Not horrible, can improve. Spins, pretty honest, I think. I think Blinkers will help it finish off, and I think he can run well. It's just drawn quite awkwardly. Caesar trial was quite average. Blinkers obviously go on, didn't carry there, and probably needs to really produce a monster effort from all back in the field. I can't have Caesar. Chargers racing, honestly. Not really too excited by his way he finished off there the other day, even though he got close to Sandbar a couple of starts ago. And Jabrit's interesting. You'd say it's probably a 1200 metre risk, but this sort of going looks to suit this horse. I think it's a real skipper that can improve. Probably, it was jumping in distance last start, and this jump's probably similar, so it's space a task, but they did set a strong tempo there. It draws soft and can run well. A little bit surprised it's not a slightly better price, but I think it'll run well anyway from the right stable. A good race, Sandbar, clearly the horse to beat. Jonker, the obvious danger. Legend Condor and Spin, the improvers, and Jabrit there as well. So it's 270. Sandbar's not any great excitement. I think $5 Jonker's not any great excitement. $9 Jabrit, not either. Spin around $10, fair enough. I think they're the main 4, but no exciting value. Race 7. All set to declare this horse thinking big. If it was anywhere near a normal surface, now it gets to a heavy, which it has won on 1100 metres. It's got good tactical speed. It travels nicely. It's a horse that can certainly run well here and is clearly the horse to beat. It's coming off a preparation that either will springboard it to a new level here and see it probably just win, or maybe taxed from that last run, that, you know, having that gap between runs. So it's a difficult horse to really want to unload on the heavy surface, but I do think he's clearly the best horse in the race and could easily dominate. Taka gets the blinkers on, draws the gate that it needed to settle right there, and runs well. Irrikanji, I can't have, thought it was a bit weak late last time. Aramayo's a horse on top of the ground I would have been saying was the main danger to Thinking Big. 22 days since that run at Newcastle where it rounded them up off a slow tempo, 400 metres up in distance. Is the query on a heavy surface? Is it ready for that? Is it seasoned enough to run out a strong 2000 on a heavy track? We've got a big query about that. Dealmaker's 28 days between runs obviously had a slight setback and missed a run. That has to put it right behind the 8 ball here and unbackable. Mickey Blue Eyes was good from well back in the field last start. Overcame a slow tempo. 7-day back up, third up. This seems like an afterthought to me, and I don't think it's an easy task on heavy track for this horse. I have to risk it. Bazo's had a strange prep and rather risky it also. Home ground's not going well enough at present. The Bolt track, probably its best hope. Purple Sector's an interesting one. Certainly a horse that's on the up, but I thought its breakthrough win 2 starts ago was flattered in an average race, and then last start, the slow tempo may have helped it sort of in that race. Is a query over the strength of all that form. Made in Heavens, the knockout, the blinkers come off here, certainly okay last start from a poor draw. Definitely one that could improve enough to be in the finish here. Has a good setup, good fitness base. Don't mind a filly on these ground, and this sort of horse looks like it'll get through the ground too, so it's interesting. Frankly Awesome faces a monster task coming from a class 1 that's going last start to a level like this and seems extremely short. Panzerfaust is not the worst $61 chance I've ever seen on this ground. I think it'll probably get through it, and not too bad a setup. It seems a natural staying sort of type, but it'll not be too affected by the heavy going. So I think clearly the best horse for mine. Just the conditions, whether it gets through them or not. Taka well set up to be the danger, and I think Maiden Heaven's the next best pick. Aramayo's the horse I was really scared about, but I think the conditions may take care of him, unfortunately. Race 8, 2-horse race for mine on paper. Angst Stakes. I think Dixie Blossoms is probably not going as well as it can. 1600 metres on this heavy ground, a big query for mine. I don't see it really dictating or getting the runs it has in this race previously to warrant wanting to find her. I think she's well found around the $4 mark. I think Shamook's a horse right on the up. It's obviously got good speed and either sits outside Mandalline or takes the front depending on what the early tempo is. I think a mile's better for it if it handles the ground, which is a query again, like a lot of the horses today. Should run well. Obviously, has handled up to soft ground previously. It doesn't seem like a horse that will struggle. Seems a real tough type that bowls along on speed, and that normally suits these sort of tracks. Very hard to beat. I Am Serious obviously handles this going. Likes the soft going. Has had a weird prep. 14, 19, 2000 back to a mile. I don't mind that for this particular race. Draws to settle in behind them. Has a little turn of foot, I guess you'd call it. It's a sort of horse that can keep coming over this sort of trip, definitely. He's a winner at Randwick mile on a heavy 8 previously, beating Belladero and Bastia coming from back in the field off a slow tempo. So you'd expect it to run extremely well. This is a bit of a class rise, but you'd expect it to run well. I think I've got it in Shamook priced up at the same, so I do think 260 is probably a little bit short, and 480 Shamook's a little bit more of a value play. All Too Soon wasn't terrible last start, and can't completely dismiss her. Mandalline obviously racing very well suited to these sort of conditions, and this is just a matter of whether she handles this class, only giving them not much weight at the set weights conditions. And that's Princess Posh is obviously racing well too, but I think a mile on heavy is probably against her. really do think it's a. I missed a horse there in Pinnacle who suited out to a mile and not hopeless under these conditions out to the mile. You know it's going to run it out. So Chinook for me, slightly ahead of I Am Serious, but yeah, as I said, I priced them the same. It's just simply on price, current price that is, and dangers. You know the things I'm throwing in the trifectas and things, probably the Pinnacle, All Too Soon and Mandalorian, but I do think it's more about one of those two winning the race. Race 9, decimated by scratchings. What have we got left? Zanzibar Warranty, Argent Door, Artie's Dream Winner, My Ma, Red Current Man of Peace. Yuck. Not a lot to say about this race. I thought Warranty was okay first up. Certainly a horse that probably looks more up the up than most. Where does it settle? Probably midfield. I didn't really come into Artie's Dream Winners 5 weeks between runs, has got wet form. Coming from Adelaide where it was dominant, but did have a PR, like a perfect run there, and ran them down back to 1200 here. Probably a positive. Sorry, 2 starts ago that Artie did that, and then last start beating Caulfield. The 5 weeks between runs, probably not ideal, but he's coming back in trip, so that'll help it a little bit. I didn't mind the run of this horse, Red Current, last week. I thought he could probably run a race here with 52 on its back. $15 seems fair enough. Blinkers go back on Argent Door, gets out to 1200 metres, handles soft going. It's got a winning chance. Warranty, as we've said, hasn't really seen these conditions, but probably has arguably the most upside of these horses. That 1.3 to Trekkings probably reads well for this. Off a slow tempo last start where it got back, it gets the rider upgrade, and Zanzibar, who's nice and honest, handles the conditions for mine very well. Set up to run well, just a matter of it runs out a strong 12 on the wet, which it probably should. I've put a line through nothing basically here. I do think probably Man of Peace and My Ma are the 2 that should be roughies. Too tough for me. Nothing I can back with confidence in the last. So unfortunately you'll probably pick up on my indecisive ability about the race meeting, simply due to the conditions mainly, and a lot of horses not seeing them for the first time in a long time, coming off good track form, now going on to heavy track form. Really trying to line it all up is not easy. I'll be taking the meeting pretty easily, I would imagine. Better racing around the corner, unfortunately. You know, even Kembla Grange is off. Port Macquarie looks a pretty average meeting, so it's going to be a quiet day. I'd rather stay that way. It's been a pretty tough week, and I'd rather just bunker down and wait for better positions. Thanks, guys.